Excellent.
That's very
All
good.
right, so I'll go ahead and share my slides.
Yes,
Where?
make you the presenter right now. The audience should see your screen pretty soon.
There we go.
Okay. And you can start when the screen pops up. Yep. There we go.
Okay, you can see it okay?
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. All right, well, welcome everybody. Again, my name's Dr. Keith Wade, and I appreciate the opportunity today to talk to you for about 45 minutes. My main goal today is to really, some of you have heard of seasonality. Some of you may have traded trying to use seasonality. What I'm really looking forward to is just giving you my thoughts on it and how I trade. I've been trading the markets for quite a long time, almost 15 years, and all my trades now are using seasonality. That's how strong and powerful it is for me. So I'm going to give you some examples. I'm going to show you some cool trades coming up so that what you can do is jot them down and kind of see the magic. You know, one of the things I do on my public YouTube channel is I'll give trade ideas ahead, not after it happens, ahead. Because, you know, when you have trades that can work out, have worked out, let's say 42 out of 44 years on some stocks with a 10% move, you know, 90% of the time, you know, I want everybody to be able to make money like that. So again, that's really my goal today, is show you just some of introduce you to seasonality and really show you some of the powerful moves of this powerful concept. So before we get started though, again, never trade money that you can't afford to lose. And again, that's very important. And, you know, even though I only have 45 minutes, I do want to take a minute to have you read that, because so many traders, you know, go in and they try to make one trade to pay their rent. And that's not the way to be successful, because as you heard from some of the other incredible speakers earlier, you need to have that mindset of following a system that works. And if it's really just to pay rent or to make that million overnight, okay, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. So again, I'm not a registered financial advisor. I do have my doctorate. I have a PhD in finance. Just been fascinated with the markets for a long time. And then in about 2010 is when I really came on to seasonality. You know, and the way I look at it is, back in the days, if a broker called you up on the phone and said, hey, I have this trade that I think you should get into, you know, it's worked again 42 out of 44 years, a 10% move on this underlying during these key dates, we all would be in, right? Well, the crazy thing is we actually do have that. Okay, that's what I do for a living now, is create these type of probabilities from my data mining, from my seasonal indicator, and that's how I trade. Okay, I live in Bend, Oregon. That's Central Oregon. It's outdoor mecca. Moved here about 5 years ago from originally from Traverse City, Michigan, and I like to swing trade mainly because of lifestyle choices. You know, I've got kids that are 14 or 13, I should say, and under, and I like to spend time with them. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why a long time ago, before I even had kids, I got into trading, was to see if I could do this so that I could, knowing I wanted to have a family someday and grow up seeing my family, okay? And it's only a couple months old. I used to work for another affiliate. I'm now president of and basically owner of seasonaltraderpro.com. Started a couple months ago. Again, appreciate the opportunity to really share some of these powerful concepts with you. Okay, so what I'd like to start out is just, you know, what is seasonality? Because again, certain people may know, others may not, okay? And again, what's important is just to understand that it's really just a predictable change or pattern in a time series that recurs year over year. And you may ask, well, how can that happen? Okay, and the way I always like to start out is, is to keep it simple. Okay, again, I'm a professor. My background is being a professor at university levels. I've been able to do research throughout the years when I was full time as a professor. And what I found was the powerful point of seasonal trading is the data itself. So you don't have to have a complicated system in order to be very successful at this. okay? But when you think about it, right, we all wake up and we brush our teeth in the morning. Well, when you look at big hedge funds and so forth, folks, and big traders, what they do is their routine. There's certain times a year they'll buy Amazon, they'll buy Facebook, they'll buy Google, and so forth, okay? It's a routine. They've got it on their calendar, okay? And again, the data does not lie. This is data that you could always all go find yourself and program yourself, okay? And that's what I'm going to show you some examples today. And I don't see a chat question. If there's questions, is there another chat box just so I'm not missing those? Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Got it. Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so consumers, producers, traders, we all fall in a pattern and rely on it to the point of becoming dependent on it. Okay, just like we all brush our teeth in the morning. Okay, again, I know that's oversimplifying, but that's who I am. Okay, I like to oversimplify things to demonstrate points. Hedge funds, fidelities, go talk to your broker. They have certain times of the year that they're going to purchase something with high likelihoods. Okay, and that's what I identify. That's what I spend all my time on, is understanding these high probability opportunities that are coming up. Okay. So let me just give a real basic example. And I am going to focus today mainly on stocks because, again, we have 45 minutes, okay? But seasonality occurs on futures and Forex. In fact, when I first started trading using seasonality, it was in the futures market. But the cool thing is about seasonality, I trade all three markets now because I have so many opportunities now that each week I can pick the best of the best, okay? But I know a lot of the audience, stocks tend to be number one, futures number two, Forex number three, and I really wanted to just make sure I target the audience that's on today. So a bonds example, okay, which again, maybe the TLT, for example, or if you're trading the futures, right, the ZB or the ZN, around the first week in August, okay, and in this case I'm saying around because you have to have specific triggers. 33 out of the last 41 years, okay, so 81%. If you went long the beginning of August and kept it till the end of August, okay, it's made money for you. So my point to this, okay, big picture, I'm a big picture guy, is that if you know that, it should at least keep you from going in on the wrong side of the trade, okay, or not taking a trade in general. So as you can see, and I'll show some live charts here in a little while, but as you can see from this chart, and this is ZB, this is a 30-year, okay, where I drew the red line here, basically in the red circle. That's when I got my specific trigger. Seasonals can occur a couple weeks early, okay, so definitely I always look 2 weeks early as well. But anyway, I got in, it kind of consolidated, then it made a nice move up in August, okay, but again, do your homework. Go back and look at, for example, TLT, if you only trade stocks, go back and look at August, year after year after year, and you're going to find that 80% plus opportunities are going long during that time frame. It's incredible, okay? It's incredible. Here's another example of the S&P, okay? So again, those of you that made you option plays on the SPDR or the SPX, okay, whatever your trading instruments are, okay? If you were to enter, I call it my Thanksgiving trade, okay? And in my service that I have, we always call, okay, this is hopefully going to make us our money, right, to buy Christmas presents, right? And again, this is something, if you go look on my YouTube videos, okay, I actually gave this to the public this year as an opportunity. Again, nothing's guaranteed. This is for educational purposes only, but it works, folks. So what this is showing you, and I know there's a lot on this screen, but the bottom line is year over year. So the last 15 years, okay, the last 15 years, just by entering on 11/21, and those dates change slightly as you see further down based on weekends and stuff, but just say big picture here, folks. 11/21, and then you exited around December 6th. It's made money every year the last 15 years. Okay, and I show you where it says profits here is the average profit per contract of the ES as an example. Okay, but again, my point to this is There's rallies during Thanksgiving, okay? So there's high probabilities. In this case, it's 100% over 15 years, okay? So what you do is you wait for your specific triggers, or the triggers that I use, okay? Once you get the trigger, you know with high likelihood you're going to be successful. I mean, this data and these profits are just off of key dates, right? Because when I'm doing my data mining, you have to have dates or you can't mine, okay? That's not when I get in specifically all the time. I get in on my actual triggers off of a daily chart during that window. And again, I will go in early if the trigger's, a week or so early, okay? But it's just incredible. It's incredible. So again, big picture, I have a seasonal indicator that you're going to see live here in just a few minutes. And then I also have a script that I use that I run scans to see where my triggers are coming from. And then if it matches a good seasonal move, okay, I take them. And that's how I trade big picture, folks, no matter what I'm trading, okay? So everything I trade typically has over an 80% probability of making money. And I say mostly because there are some trades that have been over 60 years in the agricultures that might be 75%, but again, with 60 years of data, 75% accuracy, if I get a trigger during that window time, okay, I'm taking it every time, okay? There's a couple concepts that I do in some of my trainings. Again, if you subscribe, if you go to Seasonal Trader Pro and you just go to the bottom, you can just type in your name and email, and as I do free live events, I try to do one to three a month. Lately, it's been a little bit more. You'll get these free webinars that are coming up where I teach a lot more than what I'm going to teach today, okay? But the thing about seasonality, because I always get the question, well, how do you know it's going to work this year? And the answer is we don't, right? Nobody knows. But what I can tell you is, when I first started trading seasonality, my success rate was in the mid-70s, which if you have a good, if you manage your money properly, that's a great system. You can be successful for the rest of your life doing that, right? It's all about money management. But then once I recognized through my studies about what I call the seasonal pattern mirror, okay? And all that means is that particular underline that you're looking to trade matching to what it's done in the past. So for example, if you were trading a stock like Boeing and you were looking for a long play during a certain window, excuse me, if all of a sudden that price over the last, let's say, 3 months was not following the typical seasonal pattern that it usually does, okay, then what that means is there's more risk in it working out this year. So when that happens, I just stay away because there's so many things to trade that are seasonal. Mark, if you were to type in Dr. Keith Wade, you'll see it in YouTube there. Okay, so that is something that's now increased my win rates to mid-80s. And it's all about being patient. And beautiful thing about trading stocks, whether it's via options and so forth, right, there's a lot of them. There's a lot of trading opportunities. And then if you incorporate others, futures, Forex, okay, you really have the best picks on a weekly basis. The other question I get a lot, folks, is that what about day traders? Can it be useful? And absolutely. I mean, if you go back to the example on the S&P, if you have a window, a 10-day window, for example, where the likelihood is going higher, right? Maybe you only look for long plays based on your day trading system. So absolutely. There are some short-term seasonals. The tax day trade I'll give you right now, okay? Go look and see what happens on tax day, okay? The trading day after tax day, okay? Almost always goes higher. So you better believe that's one day I actually do some day trading as well, because I know with huge odds, okay, that it's going to go higher, just like the Easter trade. So there's a lot of short-term seasonals as well, folks. Okay, so let me bring up my Thinkorswim here. Hopefully you can all see my Thinkorswim chart. Let me know if you can't. So what I'm going to do is I wanted to bring up a few. These are some recent ones, okay? And most of these were from my alert service that I offer, which we'll talk about at the end. But anyway, I'm going to give, I think, 3 or 4 or 5 of my recent ones, but then I'm going to spend some time on going over some potential opportunities here in the future so that you can mark, you can make a list and you can see it for yourself, okay? Just how important these seasonal moves can be. So in this case, this is Nike, okay? And where I put this green line right here, and this is the daily chart on the left. So for right this second, don't even worry about my seasonal here. So on Nike, off the daily chart, November and December of the last 16 years, okay, it's been higher, it's close higher 94% of the time by about 10 to 12%. This particular year was 13, okay? So on the stock itself, okay, you can grab a 10+% return. Obviously doing options, okay, now you can make that 100+% return, right? So where this line is right here is where I got my trigger on one of my oscillators I use, my modified Laguerre RSI, okay, right here. So again, I don't just go in on November 1, right? November 1 would have been right here. I go in then when I get a trigger during this seasonal window. So it could have happened mid-November, okay? Whenever it happens, and if it doesn't happen, I don't take the trade. It's that easy, right? So when I get questions, well, what if they don't work every year? Typically, if they're not going to work, I'm not going to get triggers anyway, okay? But anyway, so you get in here, and you can see it just, continues to move up, This was, again, a nice play. You can see a 13% increase during this window time. But again, you knew going into it, over 16 years of data, 94% likelihood you can make money on this, okay? Now on the right here is my weekly seasonal indicator, okay? And I do have another portion of this. It's called my lag line. That's where we can find out if it's been following it seasonal in the past. I don't have it on here right now because I don't want to complicate things right now, okay? I don't want to complicate things. But what I want to show you here is the green line again is where, this is the weekly chart, but where we would have started looking at the window, okay, and this is where we entered. And you can see the green line here is current price. And then when we get right here to the dotted white, this is now the forecast, okay, from my seasonal indicator. So when you look at it, we're basically topping historically around the week of February 17th, okay? So if you were still in this option play, let's say you did an April or May expiration, for example, and you've taken some profits, but you don't know if you should get out yet, okay? You may look at this and say, well, it typically tops right around February 17th, so I might keep a portion of my trade and stay in type of thing, okay? So there's a lot of ways of playing that. And again, I've done some webinars in the past on my public YouTube or my website. They're there as well, where you can watch some of these, and I will have more in the future, obviously. I love to teach, okay? So that's one example with Nike. Okay, let's look at gold. One of my favorite trades each year, other than the Thanksgiving E-mini trade, is gold. So in this case, I put the GLD ETF on here, okay? So between December and March, there's an average 10% move on the ETF GLD, okay? 80% accuracy since it's incorporated. What happens is, folks, from a fundamental standpoint, towards the end of the year, going into the new year, okay, a lot of funds, a lot of individuals buy gold, okay? And this year's been a little bit higher percentage so far, also because of uncertainty in the markets, right? But basically, again, I got my trigger right here on this dotted green line, okay? So I took an option play on GLD right here. Okay, we headed down a couple of days, and then it made its march up. Okay, this is a trade that we're still in my option trading service. It's up about 120%. But again, there's still some room to run. So a lot of traders have taken off maybe 2/3 of it, knowing that we're topping right around the week again of February 27th. And you can see that's about a 10% move on the ETF itself. Okay. So you can kind of gauge that, based on that type of trade, okay? So as an example, and if we got in at 12.2, I got a 137 call. Okay, if I entered at 410, Friday it closed at 1065. So if you're doing the option play again, you can do the math, right? It's almost 2.5 times your investment there, right? And that's one of the reasons I use Thinkorswim is you can actually go to the Analyze tab here. Okay, type in GLD, click on Think Back here. Okay, and what it'll show you, you can go back to the date that you wanted to take the trade. Okay, so that if you want to go back and look at some of these, I'm not going to spend the time right now, but you can do the think back, grab your price, find out, and that's how I did it on the charts here. Okay, I just made notes so that it'd be quicker for you all to see. Got in at 410, and then if you go to the current price from think back of Friday, it closed at 1065. Okay, so again, these are extremely high probability trades, folks. That what you do is you wait for it, You know, I have my own triggers. I've got two. I've got a off the daily, my modified Laguerre RSI, and then a more aggressive stochastic. So depending on the situation, you know, if I have a move that like gold, you know, a lot of times I'll get in off the stochastic early because I know if it gets a false signal, we know with high likelihood in the next future, okay, that this is going to make us money. Okay. All right, the spiders. So I've got spiders, Adobe, and Amazon of recent, and then I'm going to go into a few coming up so that you can all take notes, and this will be recorded so that you can kind of keep an eye on these and see what you think. Okay. So for the spider, again, I've made a note here. From 1120 to 13, 59 years of data, folks. Okay, 48 wins, meaning it's gone higher between this key date from 1120 to January 3rd. It's gone higher 48 out of 59 years. Okay, 48 out of 59 years. So again, just knowing that data, that's amazing, right? I mean, it should excite you to know that that data is available. Okay, so when did I get in? Well, again, I didn't go in at 1120, okay, which was right here. Okay, it still would have worked out, right? But I would have took some heat, which is fine. But I got in off of my specific trigger where I highlighted here, okay? And it's made this nice move up. This is over a 250% return of an option play, okay? Yeah, we just keep these on our watch list. This is current price. And so where's this heading? So if those of you that are wondering from a seasonal perspective, historicals, where's the spiders going right now, okay? We're going to top short term right around the beginning of March, okay? Does that mean it's going to go up every day? Of course not, right? Of course not. And when we get these retracements, okay, I just wait to re-trigger long. This was a phenomenal retracement here, right here. This was another really good retracement here when the bombings hit, right? Again, I don't just go long, right? You got to wait. In this case, my Stoke re-entry is right here, okay? You can just keep playing these seasonals throughout. The odds are in your favor with overwhelming odds, okay, that it's going higher. All right, Adobe. So November through March, you want to look for longs in Adobe, okay? 29 out of 32 years has gone higher. The average of the stock itself is about a 30% move, folks, okay? So again, when you go and look at just the weekly seasonal on Adobe, okay, here's where we're at, where the white dotted line is starting. You can see we're still forecasting and hitting a high around July, okay? I mean, that's incredible, right? To be able to have that information from a historical perspective. Okay, again, where this green line is, okay, this is when you start looking for your long plays. I'll go in a week early. I actually got a trigger, you know, right at the green line. And again, it's just an amazing trade, right? But again, not that I'm some amazing, brilliant person here. The data's telling me, Dr. Keith, 28 out of 32 years between November and March, it goes higher, an average of 30% on the stock. So when you get a trigger during that window, and you'll get multiples, okay? You know, so let's say you get out somewhere, you make your 100%, 50%, you get out. Okay, you can re-enter when you get another trigger. You know, maybe you got out right before earnings, okay, and then you're looking for another entry, you know, during that stand afterwards. So I mean, there's several times a particular stock, futures, or Forex that I'll be in several trades, or I'll have, you know, 2 or 3 or 4 trades during that seasonal window. Okay. And again, if you have questions, let me know. I know I'm going through fairly quickly here. Okay, so Amazon. First of all, I mean, let me show you the seasonal chart on Amazon. Okay, again, remember, this is the weekly chart. So starting the beginning of the year here, okay, right here, we typically bottom right around December 6th, okay, and it played a really nice role there, okay, right around here we were bottoming. So it was just a phenomenal long play. But again, going up until April here, we have a 21% increase coming on average, okay, from the stock itself, which again means a very nice return on the options, right? So am I shorting this Amazon play here a few days ago or a couple days ago? Absolutely not. I get excited when we get retracements though, right? Because then you can re-enter with high odds. You can make money on these, right? And that's the beauty. You can be patient on all of these. You can be patient and wait. And yeah, well, I'll get to that, but yeah, absolutely. You know, my seasonal indicator this is for Thinkorswim. Yep, you can purchase that. It's on my website. But anyway, so Amazon again. If you look at it, the 12.2, okay, I entered on 12.9 when I got the trigger right here on my stove because it's a little bit more aggressive entry. But when you got these type of odds, I want to get in as soon as I can, but I'm not just going to get in, okay? I have a specific rule to get in. So if you go and look and think back on 12.11, okay? In fact, let's do this real quick. So again, I'm going to go to the Analyze tab on Amazon. I'm going to go back to 12.11. Okay, so again, real quick though, you might say, well, back then, how long do you want to do your option? There's a lot of ways. I'm not going to complicate it right now. But let's say I was going to this peak in April. So I would do let's say I did a May expiration. Okay, so in this case, you got April or June. Let's do a June expiration on this. Okay. Try and get rid of that so we can see that better. Okay, so I'm going to just go at the money on this to show you, to demonstrate, okay? So right here, so again, this is based off of December 11th. If I got an at the money strike, let's just call it 140, okay? You'll get the point here in a minute. Let's just say 140, okay? Now, if you were still in the trade to Friday, January 10th, okay, that was a 1745. You see that? That was a 1745, okay? So now I'm on January 10th. Let's find the 1745 strike. Right here. It's now worth, let's say, 213, okay? So you got in at 140, it's now worth 213. Okay, so that's just an example how you can go back and analyze some of those. How would that have worked in an option standpoint? Okay, or if you trade the outright stock, right, then you got your return there. So again, just lots of cool stuff there. But I always get that question on, well, how can I go back and test some of these on from an option standpoint? That's what I love about Thinkorswim. It does it for us. Okay. Okay, so let me just see if there's any questions I haven't answered. Oh, that's a good question. So one question is, I'm trying to expand this. Bear with me, folks. I just want to expand this chart so I can see the questions a little bit more. There we go. Okay, so I'm enjoying the webinar. Can you clarify how you are different than other seasonal traders offering their service? Okay, so I mean, I've done some due diligence. I don't know what all the other seasonal alert systems and that are doing. Okay, what I can do is tell you what I do. So basically, what I do is all my trades are going to be these extreme high probability, and I'll show you my recent results here in a little bit. Okay, but when I do my alerts, I give you specifics. Okay, Amazon, here's the entry again, and I always do the options, but you can always buy at that point if you do straight stocks, right? You can buy the stock at the market the next, when the market opens up. Okay, but I do, the exact trade, what my stop loss, what my profit target is, and I update it throughout the week as needed. Okay, so basically, Sunday night I do a video where I talk about things I'm looking for, overall analysis, and then throughout the week, so Sunday night my video, and then any trades. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you always get updates and new trades when they come, okay? And then we're managing the trades and so forth, okay? And then you'll have access to the archives, the members area, and so forth, okay? Okay, so now let me bring up, these are some trades I'm looking at coming up, okay? AON, and these, folks, these are just a few, okay? I wanted to show you literally some of my favorite ones coming up, okay? So I really appreciate you attending today. So AON, 33 out of 34 years, right around the end of January to mid-April, there's a 9% move on the stock, okay? And go back and look at here's the beauty. When you go back and look at last year on this, okay, my trigger came in March. So it took a little bit longer, okay, but I still made a really nice return. So you just wait. Most of the time it's going to be pretty close to the start of the seasonal window. Okay, but when it's not, you just wait. And if there's no trade for the year, who cares, okay? So again, when you look at the seasonal side of it, we're coming, right? You can see the white line, the dotted white line right here is where we're starting to come out, okay? So you can see now from, from coming up next week until March 9th, we typically top. It's almost a 9% increase in the stock, okay? See that? And this has worked out 33 out of 34 years. Okay, so you tell me that there's not institutions out there and big shareholders that have that on their notepad, right, to buy more at that particular time. Because remember, this is during all market conditions, okay? You could say, well, this year, though, we've got some issues going on with potential war and this and that, and you're right. Nothing's guaranteed, but this has worked 33 out of 34 years. So if you're back in the days, your broker called you up and say, hey, Bill, I've got a stock that's gone 9% higher between this date and this date, 33 out of 34 years. I mean, you can't wait to tell your wife or husband, right? Okay, let me catch up on some questions here. We're going to go through some more here. So yeah, Anish, I do have you'll see on the website the seasonal indicator there. Okay, answered that question. We can look at Google in a little bit, sure. Let's see, can you? I'll show you at the end, Anish, no worries. All right, so I don't want to get in too much detail today about my option strategies, only because of time. But what I can tell you is they're very simple, okay? I like to do 3-week debit spreads if the seasonal is about 4 weeks out in many cases. Or right now I'm doing a lot of straight calls roughly at the money. And if the seasonal window, like on AON here, okay, here's a good example. So let's say I get a trigger next week on this, okay? Well, March 9th is typically when it tops, okay, short term, and then it comes back up. I would do a May expiration at the money call, okay, on that. So very simple. Nothing I do is complicated because it doesn't have to be, okay? I mean, you could look for a 60, 70, 80 delta to get a more potential return. It costs you more. Absolutely. But what I try to do in my alert service is for the average person, okay? For the average person, I know they want fairly, get in as cheap as they can, make a return, build their account up, okay? Okay, so let's take a look at Apple. So starting in February, believe it or not, I started looking for longs in Apple. 12% expected move until April 1st, 35 years of data. So again, 35 years of data, folks. Apple's heading higher, 12% roughly between February and April. Okay, and when you look at the seasonal indicator here, this is current price up until next week's the dotted line, right? You can see here, this expected move up until April, 12%. Okay, historically that's what it's done. And you can also say, well, yeah, but then it continues higher, right? Look at that move. I mean, if you draw a line from here to August, let's say you did a straight call on that, okay? That's a 30% move on the stock itself, okay? With high probabilities, okay? So there's many ways of doing that. Again, the beauty about the alert service is, no matter what size your account, you can do one contract trades and build that account up, okay? So that's another one for you to look at. Right now, I just have my seasonal indicator for Thinkorswim. I do have it actually for NinjaTrader 8. You have to email me because I don't have it on the website publicly because I find more issues installing because I'm not that great at NT8. But yes, I do have that. Okay. So CVS. Again, hope you're jotting these down. CVS. So roughly from 123 to 427, 32 out of 34 years, it's gone higher. Okay? Well, how much higher? So I drew the line from the beginning of the potential window to the top of the weekly seasonal indicator high. Okay? This is saying 4% over the next 89 days. Okay? But there's better ones than that. That's what I want to show you. You can then determine. But again, if you're doing an option play, right, you can make 50, 60, 70, 80% off those trades, right? So if you get a trigger, when you get a trigger, we can take it. So I love the fact we come down here, okay? When and if we get a trigger back to the long side, that'll be one I'll be looking for. All right, MRO, Marathon. This is unbelievable, folks, okay? This is unbelievable. 50 years of data on Marathon Oil. February to April longs, okay? Go back and look and see if it worked last year. Of course it did. But it works 46 out of the last 50 years, okay? So, again, what am I looking for? Again, my modified Ligero, my Stoke, when I get a trigger back to the upside here, right around February, and I will go in a week or two early, okay? I'm going to look at doing a long play on Marathon. So I love the fact, look at this. I love the fact we've got this dip now, okay? This is going to be a beautiful trade coming up with high probabilities, right? I mean, think about that for just a minute. 46 divided by 50, 92% probabilities over the last 50 years that it's going to go higher, okay? What's the average? 12%. And that's a great, I want to address this, okay? So Mark says, At some point in the near future, the market's going to dive. Let's see. Oops, sorry, I missed all the question. Okay. Do you look for shorts? Oh, absolutely. Right now, my actual seasonal shorts, by the way, on my data mining for stocks, I have more shorts that are available. But I'm bullish right now for several reasons, so I'm only looking for longs. Okay, but you can have your bull and your bear and take either or without question. Okay, you know, I take a lot of shorts on futures and Forex, you know, short plays. Okay, stocks right now very bullish. Okay, very bullish for a lot of reasons. The seasonals are incredible, but you can go either way. Great question. Thanks for asking that. Okay. So again, just waiting on Marathon Oil, knowing there's this huge move that typically happens. Okay. If I don't get a trigger during this window, I'm not forcing it. I'll go to something else. Okay. All right, Ingersoll Rand. Here's another good trade coming up. Excuse me. I also got the cold, by the way, from my kids, so I'm trying not to cough in your ear. But anyway, 31 out of 33 years, okay? February to May, been higher, okay? Look at that data, 94% accuracy. But so look at this. With my indicator, we're getting really close, okay? I am going to wait until after earnings, though, in this case, because we're a couple weeks before earnings, so I'm looking for the long play on this since it's through until May. Okay, so I'm gonna wait. My hope is this continues sideways to down. Maybe earnings it gaps down more, or just kind of heads sideways. If and when that happens this year, this is gonna be a phenomenal long play, folks, on IR Ingersoll Rand. Okay. Domino's. I can't stand the pizza. Okay? Too greasy for me. I loved it as a kid, but now it doesn't agree with me. But I love buying the stock, in this case, the options. So right around now, folks, okay, right around now, until the end of February, so it's a little bit shorter term, it's got a 13% move. Why is that? Anybody have any idea? A lot of times there's not real reasons, but there actually is one here, right? The Super Bowl, okay? And so what I'm looking for is a stochastic cross, my Dr. K stochastic here. I'm looking for the cross, okay? When I get it, I'm going to do an option play on Domino's, okay? And you can see we basically top right around February 24th. It dips and then it heads higher again. So then once we get into March, we got another great long opportunity on Dominos. So again, can you see the power of this? Because why on earth would you want to short a play here, wait for the long during some of these incredible opportunities, right? That's right, Anish Stan, you got it, Alan. Joe, yep, good job, good job. Okay, now, don't try to overthink reason though on seasonals. Who cares why they work? They just work. Okay, the data proves it. Okay. All right, Netflix. Let me give one more, and then what was the other one somebody asked me about? Then let's see. Google. Then I'll go to Google. So Netflix. And again, the beauty is, yes, this is swing trading, what I prefer. Okay, but again, if you're trading options, one contract. Okay, any size account you're comfortable with, you can trade it, right, and build that account up, okay? So Netflix has 16 years, 80% probability. But what I love about it is the potential moves, right? So I'm going to bring up the indicator. And by the way, when you see the green or red on my indicator here, I usually draw smiley faces. Those are pretty big percentage returns, okay? Very bullish time, okay? But anyway, so what I'm waiting for is as soon as we get past earnings on Netflix, I'm hoping this continues down, okay? Or if you're already in this trade, we'll probably make a move up before earnings, and then I'll get out. I would get out and then get back in after earnings more than likely. But anyway, again, between now and March 9th, 27% move in the stock. Between now and July, 59%. Because obviously funds, big investors, they're extremely bullish Netflix big picture, okay? So they're going to brush their teeth in the morning, meaning they're going to buy Netflix historically right about now, okay? Now, Netflix only has 16 years, right? I mean, think of that marathon with over 50 years, okay? Okay, so let me bring up, somebody asked about Google. So again, let's look at the seasonal first. And I look at weekly seasonals, folks, because they're way more powerful than looking at a daily. You're basically with a weekly, you're comparing week over week from previous years. Daily gets complicated. Okay, I've done tons of research on that. And when I designed this indicator, it actually will work off the daily, but it's not as accurate. I don't recommend it. I almost disabled it because of that. Okay, but anyway, so as we're right here, right where the right dotted line's coming up. So you can look at it and say, well, I don't really see a lot of advantage. There's a little bit between right now and March. Okay, you get a 5%, 5 or 6% potential return. But here's what I'm looking to buy Google. Okay, right around June. Okay, you can either go until July 20th for a 10%, or you can go all the way till October for that 15%. Okay, so if I'm trading Google long, I'm looking at it here, here, and here. That's how quickly you can tell. Okay. And I have this defaulted to a 10-year seasonal. That's what I found the most successful from a chart perspective. But you can change that to anything you want to. You know, Marathon's been around 50 years. You could put the chart to 50 years. But I found it very effective right where it's at. Okay. Again, hours of reviewing these. Okay, so that's Google. Okay, so I'm getting a few questions here. What was your greatest percent yield decline? So when I trade, typically what I look for, folks, there's two type of plays, and I don't want to get in too much today because we got 10 minutes left, okay? But if I'm doing a debit spread, or okay, where it's more of a shorter term 3 or 4 week play, we're getting the hit, I'm getting out at a 50% profit or a 50% loss, okay? And 8 out of 10 of those are going to work. If I'm doing a straight call, for example, or a straight put, like some of the examples I gave, excuse me, that I gave you, okay, where they're 3-4 months with, okay, I'll usually get a third of mine out at a 50% profit, another third at 100%, and then I'll let my last leg run, okay? If it goes against me, I usually get out at a 50%, unless the seasonal move is so powerful statistically, I'm willing to give up even more potentially, okay? And in an alert system, I will say that. Recommend getting out at 50% due to your size of your account. I'm staying in, okay, but that doesn't happen that often, okay? All right, so let me bring up, because of the questions I'm getting. So if you go to seasonaltraderpro.com, okay, I do put some articles. I'm starting to put more in there. Remember, my website's only been up a couple months, okay? I don't have any day trading here yet, so just ignore that, but that's to be coming. But anyway, seasonal trading. If you click on seasonal trading, if you're interested in the mentoring, which includes the entire package, you can click on that and take a look at it, okay? My indicators for Thinkorswim. Here's where you got the modified Laguerre, and I have videos, the seasonal package, which includes my seasonal indicator. So those of you that are saying, well, I love that seasonal indicator, okay? That seasonal indicator is right there under seasonal indicator package. And then the custom stove, okay? So if you were to click on the seasonal indicator, let me just show you real quick. We've got a couple minutes here. And then I'll look at Boeing as well, Bill. Once it comes up here, okay, when you scroll down, even before you want to purchase it, I give a video and explaining it, okay? So feel free to watch those videos, okay? So again, that's under indicators, the Laguerre or the seasonal indicator package or the stove. I also have the data mining, which these are phenomenal. A lot of the statistics I'm giving you, okay, You can grab them for your stocks, your futures, or your Forex. They come in an Excel document, and what you can do with that is sort by date, by stock, and have these, put them on your charts and know that they're coming, okay? And then lastly, the alert services, okay? If you click on the alert services, some of you say, this is great, but I don't have time, so I want you to give me some of the highest probability trades, right? So you go to alert services. Let's say you're looking at the stocks, okay? Again, watch the videos. But you go to seasonal trading, alert services. Let's say you're looking at the stocks, okay? And then basically what I'm offering, and I'll show you the slide in a minute, a $1 2-week trial, okay? And then after that, it's $129 a month. Or if you were to choose the yearly in the future, you get a huge discount. Because what I look for is, you know, I like to show commitment on my side, and I like when you all can show commitment as well. So that's why I give that steep discount, okay? All right, so let's go back real quick. I'll show Boeing BA. So what are we looking for now in the future of Boeing, okay? So from right now until March, it heads higher typically, okay? Now, here's the problem with Boeing. Remember originally when I told you that I'm not going to put my lag line in here to confuse things right now because that's not the intent of this webinar, okay? If I were to put it in here, you're going to see that Boeing hasn't been following its seasonal pattern over the last 6 months. We all know why, right? Because of the issues it's having. So I'm not trading Boeing right now, okay? Because without even knowing the news, if I were to put my lag indicator in here, okay, it would be looking to look for longs back here where the actual price was heading short. So remember when I talked about seasonal pattern mirror? If it's not following a normal pattern that it should be, go to the next trade. Who cares, right? Go to something that's going to give you a higher probability. Bill, I do have my seasonal indicator in NinjaTrader 8, but I don't have it on my website yet, so you would have to email me and we could do that, okay? So if you want to go back to my website, okay, just to give you an idea, here's what I recommend. Even if you don't want to purchase anything, but you want to just get some education from me, you go down to the bottom, okay? And if you have a question, those of you that have email questions, you can just put your name, your email, and your message, and I'll get it, and I'll respond to you, okay? But then it also will put you in our list. So as I'm doing free webinars and so forth, you'll get them. Okay, right here, you can put it in. Email send, okay? So if you have a question, you can type it in, get in touch. If you just want to be part of the distribution, you can put it in there, okay? And I love questions. I mean, that's what I'm here for. As you can see, I get excited every time I talk about seasonality because the bottom line is that it works, and put the odds in your favor, okay? Put the odds in your favor. So for the alert service, what you get, I've got 4 minutes here. You can get text alerts. You also get an email with the trade coming up, and then the access to the current trades in the members area with the history and detail, okay? On average, and I say on average because I don't force a thing, folks. There'll be some weeks we'll have 5 trades. There'll be some weeks we have 1 or 2. Okay. Bottom line is I take it very, very seriously. I'm not going to just pull a trade to pull a trade. Okay. So I've already showed you these in the website, but there's also links, and you'll see in the chat. Teddy has put in the alert service link, but you can go to seasonaltraderpro.com. And again, if you want the yearly on the alert service, so you don't have time for anything else, you just want to be given the trades. If you do the yearly, you're going to save a ton of money as well. My products are, though, the trade alerts via options, and then futures and Forex. My data mining, my one-on-one mentoring package, which I love to do. Fantastic opportunity for you to really learn from everything I've done throughout my career. And then my seasonal indicator, my stochastic, and my modified Laguerre, okay? Those 2 indicators also includes my scans, so that you can scan for triggers on the Laguerre, triggers on the stochastic, and if it matches the seasonal, There you go. You have your high probability trade. Again, I am offering 50% off for all you folks on my non-subscription products, meaning the data mining, the mentoring, the indicators, okay? Because I really appreciate this opportunity to get the word out with what I'm doing. So 50% off right now. And again, if you have questions, you can go in like I showed you, or you can go to support@seasonaltraderpro.com. That phone number is actually not something I normally do, but I wanted to for you folks. That's my actual personal cell, okay? So if I don't answer for whatever reason, leave a message, and then there's a Facebook, and you can text us as well. And yes, you can always take the 2-week trial and then subscribe yearly. Absolutely, absolutely, okay? All right, you know, one other thing here. I don't think I showed that slide. Bear with me real quick, and then I'll hand it over. But from current slide. So from the option standpoint, since I launched in October, closed trades right now, there was 26 trades, 23 winners out of those 26, 88% success rate, okay? Again, you're not going to get 1,000 trades. That's not the goal. The goal is to have 2 to 3 trades a week that's going to make you consistent income, okay? All right, thanks again, everybody. I really do appreciate your time. Teddy, thank you so much for allowing me to attend. I think I've met the requirement on time, which can always be difficult for me, so thank you very much.